That's what this YouTuber thinks about Bloody Mary after making this video. He says her name way more than 3 times, and then begins to taunt her out loud.
Are you real Bloody Mary, or are you just a f***ing joke? Did y'all just hear that?
Still not convinced, the brave teen says her name some more and waits. It isn't long before he gets his reply.
Do that. What's going on here?
Drawers are opening on their own, the faucet turns on, and he soon concludes that Bloody Mary is very real after all. He goes to grab the door and finds that it won't budge. He puts his hands on top of his head now, obviously distressed. Just when he is sure that he's a goner, he manages to open the door and make an escape. YouTuber Tim Morozov has faced off with many an entity in his paranormal investigations. This time he encounters ghosts in the Spine building. As he sets up his cameras, he's quickly met with some paranormal activity.
Стоит стул, и внизу, в подвалах этой тюрьмы.
Even after this, he continues in his investigation.
Кто там?
The spirits seem to want him out, but Tim stays. Just as he thinks his fears are unfounded, this happens.
Мои опасения были напрасными.
And then his camera keeps freezing right before something much worse unfolds.
Снова. Черт. Да блин, может ее перезапустить? Черт.
Luckily, Tim gets out alive. This time, I am sold that there was definitely something evil in this building. Whether ghost or demon, I'm not so sure, but it definitely wanted Tim's soul all to itself. Filmed near Shady Lake at Arkansas's Washita National Forest, this family was camping in a secluded campground when they encountered a creature that some think is a myth. Published by Jim Harrison in September of 2012, the camera is panning across the darkness when a large hairy figure moves into view not far off. Needless to say, the cameraman turns tail to flee, and I'm guessing he made it out alive, with this wicked footage to show for it. While you may not be a believer, many in the comments of this video are. A number of them even share their own encounters with Sasquatch. A YouTuber named Mark Johnson and his group are conducting a paranormal investigation in the Cave of the Winds, a supposedly haunted underground location in the Colorado wilderness. Apparently, whatever is down there with them lacks patience and will not wait until they're finished setting up equipment to begin.
Probably kick on the spirit box here in a minute.
None of them hear the noise until they review the tape, which I find strange because the camera picks it up so well. The sound was either truly paranormal or possibly just their equipment dragging across the ground. A short while later, they catch 2 orbs while walking, followed by this scream. I think this scream was probably a supernatural encounter because it happens in the middle of an otherwise regular conversation. But listen to this part and tell me what you believe. Finally, this bizarre unseen light source magically flickers after Mark Johnson asks for spiritual confirmation.
Is there anybody in this part of the cave here
here with me.
What's weird is how the shimmering effect goes away when Mark shines his flashlight over the patch of land. There's really no reason for an object to suddenly stop reflecting light like that, especially when it was just reflecting light 2 seconds earlier. In my opinion, the reflection should have grown brighter when put in a direct beam of light, not go away completely, which makes me think all of this is real. The paranormal boys experience crazy paranormal activity in this place frozen in time. As they're speaking to the spirits, they hear something.
Did you hear that?
That was definitely a knock. Later, using a spirit box app, they capture this. As they continue speaking, they're sent some terrifying messages.
If you're in this room, can you affect some of the devices we put down? Where are you, Tom? Was that Ben?
And then the spirits respond directly.
Copy this. You joking me? Did you hear that?
Still, it warns them.
Hey? Yeah, it's just sitting in the middle of the sofa. What was that? Dead. Dead?
There's someone upstairs.
Can you hear that up there? Living. Can you hear that up there? Living.
Since the team won't listen to the spirit's warnings, it takes matters into its own hands.
I thought you pushed my arm then. Something just... Jeffrey. Something just pushed my arm.
What pushed his arm? I think it was Jeffrey, but in the end, it could be any one of the demons haunting this place. Located in the UK, Bishton Hall is one of the most haunted places in the country. YouTuber Ghost Shift UK explores these hallowed halls in this scary video, and they quickly get a reading on their paranormal devices.
Whoa. Hello. Whoa. That's completely mental.
When he asks the spirits to trigger the K2, they comply.
Can you just make that go to red? Can you do that again, please? Make it go to red. Wow. That's proper maxing out.
Then, out of nowhere, the spirit shares its name through the spirit box.
Jesus. Gerald. Okay.
Even the ambient noises in the cellar sound haunting. He then hears a voice, which he describes as a shout.
I've just heard someone's just shouted something.
And then he hears this strange noise.
That's freaked me out, lads. I'm convinced it might have been Ghost Tube app.
When he returns to the room to check out the Ghost Tube device, he captures these EVPs. He heads upstairs to set up his devices in the headmaster's room, where they immediately detect activity.
Creeps really bad. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who's that then?
Clearly, the headmaster is here.
Maxing out, that is, big time. Thank you. Can you stop, can you? Can you stop for me? Please? Stop. Thank you.
Although we don't see any paranormal activity, we do hear a lot throughout this investigation. Ghost Shift UK calls Bishton Hall the most haunted place he's ever explored. It does appear to me to have significant and multiple energies, but I can't tell whether they're good or evil. Remember when you were younger and you heard the twinkling song of the ice cream truck calling all the neighborhood out for a sweet treat? Well, would you have come running if it had sounded like this? YouTuber Sean Bob Guy published this clip in June of 2008, writing that this demonic ice cream van shows up every single day at his apartment complex. The thing always scares his cat. The cat is probably not the only one with hair on end. Usually parents tell their kids if strangers offer candy to run like heck, particularly strangers in white creepy vans. Well, this scenario isn't too far off. The ice cream truck's tune sounds nothing short of creepy, giving it a distinct horror movie vibe. You know, the warbling song right before Chucky pops out and takes a life. You can almost expect the clown from It to be serving up soft serves from this truck. Probably not the most inviting image. To add to the creepiness, the vehicle isn't even a truck but is literally a white van driving very slowly through a neighborhood to lure passersby. And at the end of the video, it seems one is lured as a person comes running over to order from the creepiest ice cream van ever. YouTuber Lynn writes in the comments, "If animals act weird around this sort of thing, it's definitely haunted." The rat nest adds, "And the people who posted this were never seen again." One thing's for sure, this evil tune should never exist.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years. I walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know. It looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. A YouTube channel called The Vegas Life explores Fort Fremont in Beaufort, South Carolina with nothing more than a spirit box and a camera. It's all they need for one of the scariest moments of their life. One small green room in particular makes them nervous. They feel watched and their camera picks up breathing noises from inside that they don't hear at the time.
I don't mess with no ghosts. Do you want to go by yourself?
Something about this hidden room leaves them stuttering and covered in sweat.
I feel like I'm getting kind of chills a little bit. It's weird, like a body tingling body. I'm not like I don't know, it feels weird.
That sounds like the description of a haunted place to me, and soon they record an EVP to confirm it.
Spirit.
I heard it.
This next EVP doesn't even sound like it comes from the spirit box. It sounds like it's coming from behind her.
Did it just say Megan?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. That's good enough for me. Alright. Got full freaking body chills right now.
Scary voices whispering her name is all Megan can take, and the investigation is over soon afterwards. Their experience kind of reminds me of another scary exploration video taken in Washington at Fort Casey Fun years ago. A group of students are exploring this abandoned building when they get a really bad feeling and turn around, but before they do, one of them manages to catch this creepy shadow figure standing in the hall. The hall is empty 1 second, and then a figure is standing there that clearly doesn't belong. It has a short, squat body with skinny legs and possibly hooves. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, after watching these 2 videos, it's probably best not to explore any abandoned forts in the woods unless you want to find something that's beyond creepy. Exploring with Danny is back, this time at an abandoned building rumored to have strange lights and other happenings. Within minutes of entering, they hear a humming noise that briefly morphs into strange piano music coming from the basement. As they round a corner, they find candles are placed in a circle. A woman with a pale face and long black hair turns to them, but I'm not exactly buying it. I mean, her shoes kind of look normal to me, so this could just be a regular person dressed up. Still, the way she continues to chase after them makes me wonder if she's a crazy person, or if I'm wrong about her being a ghost completely. But skid or not, there really might be something lurking down there with them. Everyone is lurking at the corner on the left at the 7-minute mark, but what I want to know is what's up with the 2 different colored eyes in the back. Perhaps something was watching them this whole time. Sometimes you can see something that looks vaguely familiar until it completely surprises you. Posted by a major malfunction, this strange figure was caught by a security camera in Turkey. Watch closely to catch what it does. The small figure appears to be trailing across the road, walking upright. It twirls, at moments disappears, then is captured again meandering around whimsically. Suddenly it moves forward, then takes off into the air, gliding smoothly upward, all the while twirling in place. It rises, floating, gliding, and soon is out of sight. The timestamp says this occurred in February of 2016 at around 2 in the morning. What is this thing? Of course, theories abound in the comments section, with the most common suggestion being a helium balloon. If that was the case though, wouldn't its movements be more sporadic? And that doesn't explain its sudden reincarnation. A YouTuber named MBJ Report has a pest in his yard that has been bothering his dogs, so he decides to stick a garden hose down into the ground and flood it out of its den. Now they are waiting with a net to catch the pest and dispose of it if necessary. It isn't long before he sees 2 glowing eyes appear out of a second hole in the distance. This appears to be no ordinary pest, but rather a monster instead.
It's something. I don't know what that is.
It remains frozen in the beam of the flashlight for a while, hoping that he will leave it alone. Then the creature drops back into the ground below with a shriek. MBJ Report has had enough and decides to pull the creature up by its tail. He pulls back a red hand with a deep cut, which I unfortunately can't show here, and the video ends. I notice that the creature doesn't really move its limbs at all, and possibly looks like a toy, though I can be wrong. Even still, that doesn't explain the glowing red eyes though. So if you think you can tell if this is fake or real, then be sure to tell me how you know. A warehouse worker gets wrapped up in some wires and stumbles. His grip loosens at the scariest moment, and he almost dumps a heavy ladder on the head of a person who is looking down on their phone. He doesn't really get out of the way in time, but the ladder turns in midair and thankfully misses him. Ironically, the person was on their phone trying to program the very same security system, which caught his near demise on camera. I'm really glad he's okay, because he was not wearing a helmet and would have gotten seriously messed up. Ruptured asphalt, a volcano of water, mud flooding an entire street. That's what happened in Ukraine's capital of Kiev in May of 2017, published by KVN. This incident occurred due to a 2-meter wide pipe breaking while work was being done on a water canal. The footage shows the very moment the volcano breaks through the asphalt, toppling over garbage cans and gently nudging the cars in its path out of the way. Another camera angle captures just how high the mud reached. According to reports, the mud slushy hit all the way up to the 7th floor of a building. Miraculously, no one was harmed in the event, but some of these cars definitely needed a few runs through the car wash. An angry poltergeist haunting this room is throwing things off the shelf.
Hey! Allah Akbar, Allah. Ini rumah aku, kalau kau nak buat macam ni, kau ingat aku takut? Kau ingat aku takut? Allah Akbar, Allah.
But unfortunately for Arash Afnan, the paranormal activity does not end there.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Looking straight at him is a mysterious figure standing in the kitchen. A shadow figure that is clearly in the shape of a person. But when he chases it into the kitchen, it's gone and the drawer where it was just standing opens all by itself. Now that's just terrifying. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021, that's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. Bernie DMJ1 is deleting security cam videos off his Ring app when he sees something really bizarre walk across his driveway. Or rather, it's what he doesn't see, the presence of a reflection but the lack of a body to cause it. A shadow passes in front of the car and yet no one can be seen. He says this is a ghost or a shadow figure sighting for certain, but I'd like to offer a non-paranormal explanation. Maybe this is the shadow of someone across the street. This reportedly leaked video shows the inside of an underground base full of foreign equipment. Rows and rows of what appears to be storage tanks stretch as far as the eye can see, though exactly what's inside is anyone's guess. Look closely at these smooth pods and you'll see that each one contains the dark outline of something growing inside. It looks vaguely human, though its true form cannot be determined. The video's quality is very grainy and looks to be taken at least decades ago, if not longer. Experts have been unable to prove a concrete source for this video, meaning it's probably original. I think that a movie set like this would have cost a lot of money to design, so this is either a very high-budget amateur film, or most likely real footage taken by unknown people. Let me know what you think it is and be sure to provide more information if you have any. Epoch Paranormal is the YouTube channel of paranormal investigator Joseph Sturgill, a veteran of the YouTube paranormal community. He started uploading in late 2009. During his investigation of West Virginia Penitentiary, Sturgill managed to capture a terrifying piece of evidence. In the short video, Sturgill explains he had a constant feeling something was behind him, even though nothing was. It was during a joint investigation, but he says it wasn't any of the other investigators he felt. during the walkthrough, and prior to the incident, Sturgill documents some disturbing graffiti on the wall in one of the cells, while the messages were clearly made long after the prison was shut down, and rather recent judging by the good condition. The words still send shivers up one's spine. Sweet lips lie wife, mine 3 feet under the kicker, reads 1, accompanied by 3 stick figures. 2 are laying on the ground labeled Josh and Alex, while the 3rd, positioned in the middle, is hanging from the ceiling labeled Dave. Below these is written I'll be back, clearly referencing the hauntings occurring in the building. While it is likely the names written on there are the actual perpetrators of the graffiti and is likely a simple sick joke, it does enhance the chilling atmosphere of the location. Another creepy message in a different cell reads, doing time is a blessing, unless you're sick as a dog and do some confessing, with a rather impressive skull drawing above it. It's enough to make you wonder what drives people to write such messages. Writings on the wall aside, the main feature of the video happens just after the 3-minute mark. Sturgill turns around to face the way he just came and spots what appears to be a tall figure standing in the doorway.
It looked like there was a person there.
He even comments about it, and it looks as if whatever was there moves to the left of the door frame out of sight. While it is hard to see, the apparition has distinguishable features, including visible arms and legs, while its head is obscured by the top of the frame. Sturgill briefly focuses back on the cell he is in front of before turning the camera back towards the end of the hall. When he pans back, the figure is gone, and the doorway looks unlike what it did before. Nothing looks obscured, and his light goes right through this time. Could this be what was following him the entire time? In any haunted location, it is difficult to determine the type of ghost one could be dealing with. Is it friendly, malevolent, neutral, scared? In a prison, the motivations of those left behind can be even more difficult. Imagine all the different personalities who resided there when it was open. Thieves, life takers, petty crooks, innocent as well as guilty. Thankfully for Sturgill, it appears on this occasion whatever was following him was nothing more than curious as to who is visiting the prison. Hopefully all future guests only experience the same entity and not something more vicious. Earl Quest is certain that his mirror in his house is haunted because he is always seeing weird things in it out of the corner of his eye. Finally, one day he's had enough and decides to simply record behind him to figure out once and for all what exactly his haunting mirror is trying to show him. Imagine his surprise when his own reflection turns around. Actually, he isn't surprised at all, and that seems like the strangest thing about this video when you think about it. Most people would drop the camera and run screaming if they saw this, but he just keeps the same face like it's no big deal, which doesn't sound like a realistic reaction to me. This TikTok video, while scary, must not be real because he doesn't even so much as look back at his reflection. A YouTuber from San Antonio, Texas, named Dylan James TV records a deep moan that fills the night sky. Take a listen and give me your best guess as to what this mysterious noise could be.
I hope you can hear that.
After a while, it grows closer and louder until the sound breaks directly overhead, yet nothing is visible. What's especially strange is the comments for this video. Other people from as far as Florida admittedly claim to have heard this exact same noise. Apparently it happens for 5 minutes at a time, at which point it stops as abruptly as it began. This YouTube channel is dedicated to finding a local legend known only as the Clover Forest creature. 2 friends are investigating an area of the woods where the last sighting was reported when they detect what appears to be a pair of eyes staring at them from across a creek.
Whoa, get down. Oh my god, that's it. I think so.
At first I thought this could just be one of their friends wearing a mask with glowing red eyes, but watch this next part and tell me what you think. The eyes briefly go away and then reappear, which makes me think that this creature is blinking.
No, keep your light on it, keep your light on it.
Soon, the Clover Forest creature walks away and is not seen again. It's too bad that they didn't have a high beam flashlight to shine across the creek and solve the mystery once and for all. Still, tell me whether you think this video is scripted or real based on the 11 seconds of video I was able to show. Friends explore a park in North Hollywood after hearing reports of a maniac approaching random people. Soon they grow bored and decide to try to test the visual range of their night vision camera for fun. He tells his friend to keep moving back until she is barely visible.
It's on night vision. Okay. How's this? Keep going.
Soon she is little more than an outline of a black silhouette against the night sky. When she is a good distance away, something that's been watching them the entire time snatches her into the shadows.
Just stop playing around. This is not funny.
If this video is real, then whatever grabs her possesses impossible strength and speed. It picks her up off her feet like she weighs nothing at all, which makes me wonder how big this creature is and how it manages to move so fast without any sound. Luxi is investigating a purportedly haunted cemetery. As they approach the area, they find a lifeless animal near a tree.
Todo lo que hay gualichos. Acá pueden ver, pueden corroborar que hay un animal, miren, un animal muerto también, de los gualichos que se hacen acá en esta zona. ¿Lo puedes levantar, por favor? Sí. ¿Ve? Este animal.
He captures some of the tombs on video.
Puede ver uno de los... Allá atrás se puede apreciar, no sé si alcanza la toma de mi celular, porque mi celular es un celular muy bajo en resolución. Pero bueno, vamos a caminar a ver si podemos ver algo.
And then he and his entire extended family continue walking until they see what they came for.
Mirá, 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 mirá. Mirá, mirá. No, esto de no creer, esto de no creer, vamos. Corran. La verdad que no me lo podía esperar.
Did you see that figure? The figure in white appears very small and moves slowly through the tall grass. After putting some distance between them and the mysterious creature, the cameraman turns around to capture one last glimpse.
Ahí se ve. La verdad que se mueve, está en movimiento. La verdad que Jesús de Nazaret. No, vamos, corran. Agárrale.
Is it a witch? A ghost? The YouTuber believes it's an elf. I'm wondering if he might be on the right track, but in that case, why not stick around to see if it's good or evil? Larry Glow has a haunted home that keeps him on edge at all times. He records down the hallway because a ghost is down there. He's sure of it. I'm not sure what he is saying and need your help to fully understand.
Lo que está pasando. Yo sé que yo escuché algo por aquí. Esto está jodón, esta vaina aquí.
He hears a loud noise from behind as the ghost walks past and touches a light. The living room is where he experiences the most paranormal activity. So there's already a second camera all set up. Here is the same scary moment from a different angle. As you can see, he hears a bang, turns around, and that's when this stuffed animal gets possessed. Is someone pulling strings off camera, or are these objects moving on their own? When a shadow passes through your security footage, you know you're not alone. Posted by Lily Monique to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Lily shares that her uncle David and her father work for mall security. She writes, "This is what my dad and uncle caught on mall security cameras where they work in the middle of the night in the parking lot. The video shows David standing in the middle of the empty lot. He remains there in the light, and no one at all is around, but then a shadow passes close to the camera, completely blocking him from view for a moment. It almost looks as if a figure glided directly in front of the security camera. If I were David, I'd be looking over my shoulder in that parking garage. Tim Morozov, or Tim Frost in English, is a Russian YouTuber who goes into places that spirits want him to stay out of. This time he has his eyes on an entire village that's been evacuated due to the presence of something mysterious, something neither you nor I can see. He picks the creepiest, most haunted looking cabin of them all, and unlike most ghost hunters, sets up high quality lighting to catch every last detail. It isn't long before Tim Frost thinks he sees a mist floating before his very eyes, but to be honest, I don't see anything.
Par.
That mirror, on the other hand, is hard to miss. Tim takes it off the wall and is busy inspecting it with what sounds like beads falling off a necklace hit the floor from behind. If this is fake, then someone must have climbed the cabin and poured something onto the roof to create this sound, but that still doesn't explain what happens next. A ghost brushes by and hits the microphone of his camera at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. The mic moves by itself and everything, or maybe Tim's just lightly shaking it to create the illusion of movement. Then his light short circuits, unless, that is, he hits the strobe effect and then turns it off himself. Tim Frost knows that he has to explore the entire cabin, and that includes the basement. He takes the freaky mirror down there with him and starts snapping pictures with an old Polaroid camera for evidence. That's when a brick falls near him. There's a good chance he placed it there himself, because this ledge is an odd place for a brick to just so happen to be perched upon. But right as I say, I notice an orb fly over the brick right as it falls. So now I'm back to thinking it could be real and paranormal. Tim Frost unfortunately gets chased out by locals before he can gather much more evidence. He returns on a different day and selects another cabin. This one happens to still have power, which is odd, but I guess the electrical company could have made a mistake and not switched it off yet. Anyway, at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, he records a strange flickering white light against the wall. It stays with him for more than a minute, but then, at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it goes away, almost like it goes into the next room, and then this happens.
Блин, что-то голова раскалывается, на самом деле. На спичке вроде все в порядке.
Suddenly, the lights go out and Tim finds himself alone in the dark, or so he thinks.
Как упали тарелки.
He uses an EMF meter to track something moving around with him, and when he hones in on its exact position, his lights start messing up. Also, an eerie mist is visible around his flashlight, but maybe it's dust. He follows the EMF meter up to an attic. His flashlight is flickering badly now, even though it was a solid beam only minutes before. What he hears next is not fake in my opinion. Too light to be a person, and yet all too near. In fact, it sounded like it was this door. but when he looks inside for himself, nothing is there. And get this, the flashlight of his camera is not the last of his lighting problems that night. When he set up his professional studio lights that he's never had a problem with before, they can't seem to stay on either. I would say that this was from faulty wiring with the cabin, but I think this light is running on its own battery and isn't plugged in at all. An urban exploration channel called Backyard Exploration has caught some scary stuff on video after taking a camera to an abandoned St. Louis mall. These scary moments caught on camera while exploring a dark movie theater in the mall have people wondering if this was a ghost, a glitch, or something else.
Horror movies. Nice.
The colors become scrambled at 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and again 4 seconds later, this time accompanied by an unnatural noise. I think this part was probably edited as a joke because he is looking at horror movie posters shortly before it happens. At least that's what I think. Does this video look paranormal to you? A YouTuber named Hunting the Dead dares to play with a Ouija board inside of his own home. Aside from using the board itself, he also has a ghost hunting device which scans different frequencies for any signs of the paranormal. He begins asking questions out loud, and it isn't long before he gets a fairly clear response.
Is there evil in this home?
The spirit then begins highlighting the same number 3 times in a row.
6. Holy shit, 6. 6.
Hunting the Dead soon finds out exactly who the spirit is and what it wants.
Zozo, do you want to attack me? Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's on, yes, it went off.
Shortly afterwards, Hunting the Dead begins to feel gravely ill and needs to go to the hospital. A YouTuber called Wet Tent catches a poltergeist in action in his home. As evidenced by this slamming door, he shows that there is nobody on the other side and then waits for it to happen again. It's creepy until you see his window is open, so it could be a breeze. And here at 13 seconds, you can see a tag on his covers move in the wind. I just wanted to show this video because I think that it could help explain other videos with slamming doors. Still, I would not totally discount this video. Wet Tent should make a new one with the window closed and see if it still happens. A YouTuber named Nerdy Gamer records someone standing outside of his San Antonio home in a clown outfit with a bright red balloon. He opens the door and the two share a tense stare down before exchanging words. The stranger does not respond to warnings or even flat out threats. However, they do shuffle around for a bit each time after he speaks, which shows that they are at least contemplating what he says.
Creeping right there by my driveway, just staring there. He's been there for about 15 minutes. Yeah, you need to leave, yo. I already caught the cops. Yo, you need to leave. I'm being dead serious. I will you.
Finally, he grows tired of the one-sided exchange and waits for police. No follow-up was recorded after this part. So was this a skit, or did a silent clown really come bother a YouTuber at his own home? Arachnophobes beware. This video is straight out of Ron Weasley's Nightmares, published by Exotic Slayer in October of 2018. Footage of this spider will remind you why so many people fear them. The Goliath bird eater is the world's largest spider by mass and size. Goliath calls South America home, and its leg span is second only to the giant huntsman spider. Goliath is called a bird eater for a reason. A copper engraving made by Maria Sibylla Marian in the 18th century depicts the giant spider chowing down on a hummingbird. But don't worry, birds aren't often the spider's prey. Rather, he prefers worms, amphibians, insects, and other arachnopods. Although Goliath has been known to eat things as large as rodents, lizards, and snakes. Imagine running into this spider in your jungle lair. It's what nightmares are made of. A YouTuber named Breaking the Shell goes exploring a 150-year-old home in search of the paranormal, and the paranormal is what they find. Shadow figures and footsteps have been reported by previous ghost hunters, but that's nothing compared to the paranormal evidence you're about to see. They're not even exploring inside of the house yet, and the investigation is already getting spooky. At 40 seconds, a mysterious, possibly paranormal white light appears in the window of the room above them. And before you say that their light is hitting a mirror or something, explain how at 45 seconds the light seemingly gets even brighter when the ghost hunter faces the opposite way. One of the things they notice is a bricked up fireplace where someone seems to have busted out, along with a door that has a padlock. There's another doorway with firewood in front of it that's been boarded up and painted over. I feel like somebody could have been kept in here against their will.
That's weird.
After exploring the house some more, they think they hear footsteps, like other ghost hunters have reported, and I think it might be happening over them in the room where the mysterious light was.
Like it walked past that window like some people.
They go outside, and at 23 minutes and 7 seconds, their camera gets blurry, like it's trying to focus on a ghost nearby. Then we see the weird, mystifying light again, in front of them this time, and there's nothing but darkness, so I don't think it's light from their camera caught on tape.
No joke, I saw a lot right there.
But here's the creepiest paranormal evidence of all. At 13 minutes, while exploring the top floor, they see this blue blanket. It looks flat at first, but the more you look at it, the more it looks like the ghostly form of a child seems to appear under the blanket.
Holy cow, this is terrifying.
Now this has to be paranormal. A door closing by itself is another classic sign of a ghost haunting the place, and it doesn't always have to be a ghost slamming the door. A gentle closing is oftentimes twice as scary.
If you're out there, please shut this door one more time. That's all I'm asking. Just me. Oh my. Okay, I'm getting seriously freaked out right now.
The person who captured the paranormal activity says they were home alone when the door shut by itself a few times.
I don't believe that just happened. I didn't think I'd get anything. Well, I'm definitely going to be filming this area more.
He says a ghost slammed it shut in the past, but this time it shut it gently. Afterwards, he investigates the door to show us there's nobody standing on the other side because there's no room. It's apparently a haunted staircase, presumably leading to the attic. He says there are no open windows behind him, which was my guess. At 1 minute, you can see no string around the interior knob, which was my other guess. Freaky, right? A YouTuber named Wokun Cha is on a mission to explore the most haunted places in Pakistan faster than anyone in the history of ghost hunting. Since August of 2019, he has investigated no less than 60 paranormal locations, but for time's sake, let's focus on these top 3 scariest ones. In September of 2019, he travels to a house possessed by demonic desert spirits called jinns. He takes a single step in the first room and already feels a cold presence warning him to stay away. Then the door across the room closes so slowly you have to watch the shine of his camera light to see it. When he fearlessly takes a few steps forward, a ghostly white arm reaches for the knob to shut it the rest of the way, at which point his flashlight turns itself off. The same door clatter loses again behind him. Someone's on the other side, but whether it's a ghost or a member of his crew is what I want to know. Also, what is he saying here to provoke such an angry response?
यहाँ कोई मौजूद है? क्या अपने होने का सबूत दे सकते हैं? अल्लाहु अकबर।
Nobody is on the other side of the door, at least no one that I can see, though I suppose someone could be ducking under the camera here to make it look that way. But that's when he sees it, the thing responsible for closing the door, a white apparition who glides away without a word. It's creepy for sure, but also questionable, because he sees the ghost and then enters the room looking the exact opposite way for some reason, which makes me think that they could have digitally added the ghost later. Next, he hears something so eerie and insane that it almost has to be edited. Let me know if you think it's legit, because if so, then this is pretty much proof of the supernatural. Voices, perhaps children, whose lives the jinn has snuffed. The ghost hunter understandably seems reluctant to go any further, and perhaps senses a great danger is near. As it turns out, he's right. No one seems to be inside of this room, but as he timidly rounds the corner, I think I see this gray figure in a cloak standing on the other side. The jinn itself, it's blurry, yes, but something nonetheless seems to be looking straight at him. The top arrow is its face, and the bottom its outstretched hand, palm up. He flees then and there, but on February 2nd of 2020, returns to the home for another look. I think they might be saying that something is on the roof here, but I need your help to translate and make sure.
ये देखें आपके सामने
Apparently, whatever it is, it's now in the room with them, so they step outside. They take a short breather, but as soon as they're back inside, the trouble starts once again.
ये गिरा हुआ ये अचानक ही गिरा है नीचे
I'm pretty sure he's asking for confirmation of a ghost during this part, and soon he gets a response.
देखिए आप जो भी हैं मैं आपको नुकसान पहुंचाने यहाँ नहीं आया
At which point this chain on a nail begins to sway back and forth for well over 10 seconds completely on its own. Doors slam shut, but Wokan Cha is determined to go further than before, and eventually he comes across a bizarre straw hut that fills him with unexplainable dread. The earth looks recently disturbed. Anything could be buried beneath the rubble. He's contemplating the structure when the spirits become restless. Or maybe it's just a string tied to a tree. Either way, he seeks shelter in an area that's just as haunted as everywhere else, and soon he hears voices coming through the walls. At this point, you would think nothing could stop this fearless explorer. Doors slamming, groaning moans, and objects moving on their own aren't enough to make him leave, but the part that scares him the most is literally nothing at all. A presence that we can't see and only he can feel. Is this part real or just good acting?
अजीब सी कंडीशन है अल्लाहु अकबर अस्तगफिरुल्लाह मुझे धक्का दिया किसी ने
He turns around and looks at the corner as if something had just brushed by. Whatever touched him leaves him too scared to re-enter. I've saved the creepiest one of all for last, a paranormal adventure that takes place on October 23rd, 2019. That's when Wokan Cha travels to a site full of unmarked burials. Many of them are child-sized. It's a calm night and crickets chirp as he says a few words that I would like translated because they sound very somber and sorrowful.
अल्लाह ताला की मेहरबानी से मैं बिखरी ऐसे हूँ
The stillness of the night is soon replaced by a rushing whisper that sounds lonely and paranormal, a rising cry of anguish possibly originating from the other side of life. As he reaches an old memorial, he hears another voice call out, a near laugh. And approximately 2 minutes later, the same voice laughing. His nervous fear is overpowered by a morbid curiosity to stay and see who the voice belongs to. I was halfway expecting a hand to bust forth from the earth, but what happens next is just as frightening.
Allahu Akbar. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. मेरे दोस्तों वो साया से मेरे दोस्तों वो.
He checks around the side of the building and sees nothing. He's all alone again, just himself in the graves. I wish Wokan Shah all the best, but at the same time really hopes he slows down to a safer rate of exploring. If he keeps this up, it's only a matter of time before something really bad happens to him, and at this rate he might not even make it to his 100th video. A YouTube channel called Urban Exploring with Cappy is checking out this old abandoned log cabin slowly rotting in the woods. The cabin looks to have been part of a small town built recently enough to have power lines. Cappy and his friends start looking inside the log cabin. They look at the retro interior and estimate this place was abandoned sometime in the 50s or 60s. Though what drove them away from this area is unclear. Eventually, the two friends come across a stepladder leading to the attic that's already been open. It gives them a bad feeling, so one calls out,
"Hello? Is there an animal up there?"
They didn't come all the way here just to stop now, so Cappy climbs the ladder and takes a look around.
Whoa!
A very loud bang startles Cappy and he jumps off the ladder in surprise. They didn't go back up there to investigate, and we'll never know if whatever made that noise was human, animal, or something else altogether. A YouTuber named the Spyro Gamer has a mysterious problem with his PS4 controller that I don't think is covered by the warranty. The unexplained video begins with him turning the controller on, and the light on the top remains solid like normal, but whenever he passes by this area of his room...
Is in my cabeza if I go over here. And there, look, see? See? See that?
The controller flashes in a mysterious way and then turns off. No matter what he does, the controller refuses to stay on in the closet. Keep in mind it was able to stay on normally when he was on his bed, so the controller appears to be set up properly and not broken. The unexplained video starts to make a little more sense when you consider ghosts supposedly can disrupt electronic equipment, and that's when the ghost stops trying to hide.
I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh. Oh.
He feels something walk by, the controller turns off, and then the door slams. Freaky, right? What happens when you're on an extreme ghost hunt that goes horribly wrong? Published to YouTube in July of 2020, Simply Sereth can answer that question. He suggests using earphones to get the full effect of what happened to him and his crew when they got trapped in by unseen forces while exploring this bungalow. In the video, they wander through the dark abandoned house. It's raining outside, which adds to the creepy ambiance inside the home with its empty windows and doors. Nearly straight away, they keep hearing noises that makes them jump and search around for the source. The home is nightmarish, with bats or birds swooping down from the ceiling every so often. At one point, at 14 minutes 30 seconds, they hear footsteps above. At another point, there's a loud bang at the end of the hallway they're hovering in. While talking through the spirit box, they feel like something is at the end of the hallway again. They run for a moment, but then stall to talk again to the spirit box. They must have felt trapped like rats as they kept hearing noises on opposite ends of the hallway. But thankfully, they eventually escaped with their lives. But did something else come with them? Have you ever captured something out of the corner of your eye in the woods? Vivian Hoffman shares this mysterious video to Facebook page Kentucky Mysteries. Watch closely. Let's see it again. The video was taken while driving, so it's an unsteady capture, but this still photo gives us a clearer image of the figure. It looks like someone in a long cloak wearing a hat. Though the attire isn't distinct, it looks like clothing from a past time period. The figure looks unnaturally dark, considering it's the middle of the day. I feel like it could be a shadow figure. Many in the comments say the old hills mountains of Kentucky are known to be haunted. Whether a ghost, a skinwalker, or the devil himself, I'm not sure, but this unknowable being definitely makes me nervous. On March 17th, 2021, members of Museo del Horror traveled to a derelict building in an unknown city in Mexico, live streaming the entire adventure. Just after beginning their investigation, the group ventures to the side of the building. As they come to some stairs on the side, a faint growl can be heard on the audio. None of the participants noticed it during filming, but viewers were quick to point it out in the comments. It sounds either like a growl or an attempt to whisper something, but it is difficult to determine what. From here, they enter the building, which is hollowed out and falling apart. Nothing of note happens until just after the 40-minute mark of the stream. A high-pitched noise can be heard, almost like a screech or another hiss, albeit longer than the previous one heard. It's also possible that this was the sound of something rubbing against another object, similar to metal rubbing against metal. The last speculation is it could be someone breathing in, possibly one of the explorers, although nobody else seems to be around except Alfondo holding the camera, and he starts speaking before the sound goes away.
Si está bien la distancia, todo está bien.
The team decides to conduct a Ouija board session, which is not recommended for amateur explorers, by the way, to see if they can get any activity. Not long after starting, a very faint voice can be heard on the audio.
¿Hay alguien aquí?
Oh, escucha.
It sounds as if there are words in there, but it is almost impossible to make out. The voice can be heard speaking over questions being asked. Could someone be trying to communicate? Soon they get an answer of yes on the board after being asked a question, and the board remains active for some time. When asked if it is a man, it responds no. Throughout the session, dogs can be heard barking wildly in the background. The dogs were rather quiet prior to starting the Ouija board, and now they are nearly frantic. Animals are known to be sensitive of the paranormal. Could they be distressed at what the team is doing? Or is there another explanation? In the midst of this session, by far the most bizarre event happens. Alfondo's attention is called away to a strange light manifesting on the opposite side of the building from where they are. In the opposite corner, it appears as if a flame has been lit, flickering. Suspicious others might be in the building. They call out and make their way to the area. One of the team members shows a few photos she took, and along with the glow of a fire, the windows make it appear to be daylight outside. However, the video camera always showed the windows to be dark. Furthermore, the photo camera was not using a flash, meaning it could not be a reflection. What could this mean? They decide to do a spirit box session, and instantly, the sounds the box makes sound straight out of a horror movie itself. While it is most likely caused by the rapid switching through radio frequencies, we have never heard another session sound as terrifying as this. Alfondo walks with the device to the other end of the building, and throughout hears some disturbing sounds. First, what sounds like someone wailing in distress. The most disturbing capture of the night is what sounds like a child crying out in fear or pain. It's hard to imagine what could have happened at the location, as it appears some manner of horrors still reside there, endlessly crying out in the afterlife. This hunter captured the prey of his life while on an expedition. Published by Bigfoot's Testimony in January of 2022, the mysterious encounter occurred in a wooded area in Ohio. The footage shows a strange, grassy-looking creature creeping between the trees on a snowy fall day. The man says the creature's hair is gray or black.
His hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Is that snow?
Zooming in, the figure is barely discernible from its surroundings, like he's camouflaged. Most in the comments confirm that they've seen similar creatures in the forest. Tanner Urza writes, "These beings are very spiritual and in tune with nature." Others note that at some points it looks like a barely visible, partially invisible shadow. Is this the Grassman of Ohio, or do we have another legendary creature on our hands? Either way, I think I'll be staying clear of that forest. Do you hear that? Published by Indra Saputra Official in April of 2022. Someone is singing in this abandoned building. As Indra flashes his flashlight in the room, speaking to the voice, the sing-song continues for a moment, but then all is quiet.
Sandra, aku bisa nggak? Ini aku, tuh. Setelah aku nggak bisa bro. Aku nggak main di center. Nah, katanya lama.
But then, when Indra tries to open the door, he can't get out. His camera light goes out and then starts flashing. As he turns around in the empty room, it's no longer empty. The light goes off again, and Indra is singing in the dark by himself for a time. The ghost girl is gone. What frights does this place hold? A demon sing-along doesn't sound like a good idea. This driveway ghost likes to mess around. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in March of 2021, CCTV footage caught something scary and mysterious in this driveway. The video shows a rock flung or kicked onto the driveway from something off camera. A moment later, a ball bounces into view from a space to the side of the drive. It rolls around for a moment before coming to a standstill. Then a chair scrapes forward and is leaning off of the step back and forth before being flung forward onto the drive. Sounds are heard out of sight, followed by a small footstool thrown into view from the same storage space. A strange shadow is seen on the back wall, floating in the air. It moves into frame and hovers before retreating back again. Then a fuller shadow figure makes its way into the picture. Rather, it looks like a strange creature crouched down is casting a large shadow against the wall. The floating figure appears again higher up on the wall. Were these mysterious beings causing the poltergeist activity? I guess we'll never know for sure. This urban exploration video comes to you from Thailand, and the title of this video roughly translates into English as "Abandoned House in the Middle of the Forest No One Dared to Explore." This modest looking home holds some strange and bizarre things that are worth taking a closer look at. Secrets I doubt we can explain. He stumbles upon an oversized shoe print. Translate his observations if you can.
นี่ก็น่าจะเป็นตรงนี้เป็นไม้ครับแต่ตรงนี้ผมสังเกตดูว่ามันจะมีเหมือนรอยเท้า
In the next room are two equally old footprints, even bigger and wider now.
แล้วข้างในก็จะเป็นโอ้คุณผู้ชมนี่ผมมีรอยเท้าด้วยครับผมมีรอยเท้าด้วยครับผม
The same person has apparently removed their shoes to walk barefoot for some reason across this disgusting floor. It's like they grew out of their shoes or something, almost like a bizarre transformation took place. Some people are saying that this is an unfinished house, while others say this looks like a crematorium. I don't know why either one would be in the middle of the forest, but I do know this is a creepy situation that I hope we can piece together and better explain. Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you. What is lurking on this roof at night? Published by Scary Labs in July of 2021, this paranormal team captured something unearthly prowling atop a roof in the darkness. The figure captured is bright green, almost digital in nature. It appears to be something in a hooded robe. First looking toward the crew, the figure turns and walks away. The crew doesn't seem to notice the figure at the moment, though it's captured again on camera as they walk toward the building. When they light a candle, the resistance registers again, but this time just its outline. This time they see it and run off in fear. The figure can be seen again still looming on the roof behind them. While many in the comments say this is next level editing, some are more inspired by the Oscar-worthy acting. We can probably gather that this is fake, but those who believe it's real are legendary.
ऊपर क्या है भाई? ऊपर देखो भाई! भाई! मोमबत्ती फेंको भाई! ओए मोमबत्ती फेंको! चलो भाई! चलो.
Want to see a magic trick right before your very own eyes? TikToker Vincent L.A. Jordan has one for you. Watch for the guy in the red shirt. Everyone's wondering where he came from. He seems to materialize out of thin air as the ladies walk forward. Watch again closely. My theory is that he's Doctor Strange, or he teleported there. Is there any more logical explanation? YouTuber Johnny Paranormal 74 writes that they caught this on Alonzo's live earlier this evening. The live stream was captured in an empty mausoleum in Mexico. Let's take a look.
¿Escuchas? ¿En qué parte estás? ¿Lo viste?
Se cerró todo. Pensé que iba a tronar.
Se cerró la puerta. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Se cerró la puerta, Clary.
When he looks inside, you can see there's nobody there.
A ver qué es lo que hay adentro. La puerta está cerrada, miren. La puerta está cerrada. Bien nomás. Voy a abrir más.
Do you see what I see? If not, you're about to hear it.
Dime, estás aquí. Mira, otra vez, ¿lo viste? Alguien está dentro, Clary.
Did you hear that? I'm sure you did, because as I see it, this is one of the most scary videos you'll ever see. A man is holding very still with his arm out at an odd angle. That's because he doesn't want to attract the wrath of this dangerous little fellow who somehow slithered into a scary situation. He is helpless as his friend carefully pinches his sleeve to determine where the snake is. He makes a cutting motion with his free hand to tell his friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room, so they need to cut more. By now, the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. This deep web video features a disembodied head in a skeleton mask hovering over a single candle. He speaks in Spanish and uses a voice changer, but his tone makes it clear that he has only the worst intentions in mind. Unfortunately, other than the general creepy atmosphere of this video, I have no idea what is being said here. Listen to what he says and help me translate if you can.
Meu nome é Guidem e eu estarei te contando as histórias mais horripilantes deste planeta. Todo domingo, às 8 horas da noite. Não tenha medo.
Something about this makes me think that he is either making a confession or telling us about future plans. Let me know if I am right about this hunch, and if you think this video is real. Did this statue move? Writes a person in the comments section of this marble statue video. Some other people agree. It does, but I can't say that I necessarily see it. At 45 seconds, this Snow White statue maybe looks like it sways slightly, if you look hard enough, but that has to be camera movement. Maybe this is what they're talking about. What do you see? A YouTuber named Victor Curry 30 is having a cake eating contest with oversized spoons. When one of them gets their utensil wedged deeply inside their mouth, they all find the situation somewhat amusing until they realize there's no easy way to pull it out of her mouth. What is especially troubling is how they have to shove the spoon even farther in so they can get the right angle for removal. It looks like she comes awfully close to not being able to breathe here. Posted to the r/chills narrator subreddit, Redditor The Cheese is Moist writes, if I'm tripping, then don't come at me in the comments, but is that star changing colors? In the video, he zooms in on a star in the distance. The closer the zoom, the more clear it is that the star is rapidly changing colors. I've never seen a star ever do this before. Is it a satellite? Or is there something more nefarious at play here? Class is still in session at this abandoned school. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in April of 2022, this ghost hunter set out to explore the school, which is said to be haunted by the ghost of a student who is found lifeless there. After entering the school, he hears the haunting before he sees it. A chair squeals across the ground as it's being dragged by something unseen. When the chair slows to a stop, he hears another noise. Going to investigate, he finds a swing set in action. Though no one is in the seats, same goes for a second swing set nearby. As he continues around the playground, he hears another noise. He races back to the school and peers inside the broken screens of the classroom windows. That's when he sees this. Upon entering the room, this upsetting sight scares him enough to leave this place. Unlike the ghosts of past students, who it appears have never left. The Stones River paranormal team is investigating a haunted courthouse in Tennessee when something truly bizarre happens. One of them is talking about how cold their hands feel when all of a sudden one of the double doors leading to the bathroom unlocks and swings shut. The team tries to recreate the situation to see if it's just a loose hinge or a faulty lock, but this doesn't seem to be the case at all. The door has no problem staying open for the rest of the night and doesn't shut again. Long before this particular room was remodeled, it was used as a prison for captured Union soldiers during the Civil War. It only makes sense that paranormal activity would occur in this historic corner of the courthouse. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be? This YouTuber is trapped. The hungry beast shreds his backpack and smells more supplies up this tree. All it needs to do is get through this pesky human first.
Hey there. Down there.
Amazingly, the bear does as told and goes back down upon the hunter's request. I guess seeing a human talk up close like that must have freaked it out because the animal runs away before chancing a look back at the backpack laying on the ground and deciding against it. Of all the weird things I've ever seen caught on camera in the woods, this has to be one of the weirdest and scariest videos ever, because there's no doubt it's absolutely real. YouTuber named Jason L is rock climbing with his friend Kevin when they come across a narrow and claustrophobic crevice. Not wanting to get left behind, Jason follows Kevin's lead, but his resolve weakens considerably about midway through.
Kinda wishing we didn't come in here, Kevin. What? I'm pretty terrified.
Barely 10 seconds later, Jason takes the worst step of his life.
Oh no.
Here, give me the camera.
My foot's stuck. My foot's stuck. I'm so serious, I can't move.
After some initial panic, he steps out of his shoe and manages to dislodge it. After some effort with both hands, look again and you can see what would have happened if Jason L had tripped and fallen forward. Instead of stepping out of his shoe, it's a sharp drop down a series of spiky rocks that could have easily resulted in shattered bones and an emergency airlift. William Davies has been documenting all of the paranormal activity around his bedroom for quite some time. January 25th, 2014 is when he proves to himself his bedroom is haunted, first with a creepy unexpected EVP caught on tape, followed by this hands-on ghost encounter.
Stopped. Whoa, something just grabbed me then. Ooh.
6 months later, the paranormal activity is ramped up considerably. He hears noises all around his room quite often. Even during the day, it sounds like someone invisible is walking around. Objects fall off the shelf in plain sight, with William Davies clearly standing a few feet away. He might have done it himself with a string, but honestly, I don't see one. Do you?
Oh, this is not normal, man.
4 months later, he notices his pantry cupboard refuses to stay closed, but only for one night.
Something's... No.
And if you listen close, at 2 minutes and 49 seconds, you hear a woman's voice cry out right before the door opens. The more he refuses to believe, the harder the ghost pushes open the door. In 2009, a YouTuber named TC Ballinger uploaded 2 ghost videos from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania that are widely regarded by most as being authentic. The first one was taken near Wheatfield Road, about a mile from a major site known only as the Triangular Field, rumored to be quite cursed by the final moments of many. A figure crosses the road accompanied by an echoing moan. Real or fake is my question. TC Ballinger zooms in and picks up another figure, this time in more detail, followed by a third. What is your take on this? Do they look like distinct individuals, or is this the same CGI model being recycled? He then goes on to a different location that is only a half mile from the Triangular Field. More spirits appear before him in the same fashion as before. Is this video editing, or did he just capture the real reason why this area as a whole is designated as a no trespassing zone? Do you think if you saw this clip, demonic possession? Superpowers? Is this girl a witch? What's happening here is none of the above. Things are getting atomic up in this classroom. Posted by TikToker Zula5439. This individual is touching something called an electrostatic machine. The hair raised is because it becomes electrified with charges of the same polarity, which repel each other. She is instructed to throw the electrons. Her hair is supposed to go down when she does so, as it loses static, but the instructor says she didn't throw them right. Well, this experiment is completely normal in a science classroom. Without context, one might think this video is supernatural. Either way, it's not easy to forget.
Oh, gotta stick up like this. Or take the stick out of your hand. Okay. Now you can throw those electrons. Watch your hair when she throws those electrons.
Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.